Ethan had always been good with his hands. As a mechanic, he could fix just about anything, from rusted engines to broken brakes. But lately, life hadn't been kind to him. His small garage was struggling to stay afloat, and bills were piling up faster than he could pay them. Still, Ethan refused to give up. He worked long hours, determined to provide for his wife and 2 young kids no matter what. One rainy afternoon, as Ethan tinkered with a stubborn carburetor, the sound of an old sedan sputtering into his driveway caught his attention. Looking up, he saw a weathered vehicle pulling to a stop outside his garage. Out stepped Henry, an elderly man dressed in simple clothes, exuding warmth and humility. "Hi there," Henry said, approaching him with a polite smile. "I think there's something wrong with my car. It won't start, and I'm not sure why." Ethan wiped his greasy hands on a rag and nodded. "Sure, let me take a look." As he examined the car, Ethan noticed how worn it was. Clearly a vehicle that had seen better days. When he glanced back at Henry, he saw the worry etched on the older man's face. "How much will this cost?" Henry asked cautiously, reaching for his wallet. Ethan quickly realized that Henry didn't have much money, and likely couldn't afford the full repair fee. But instead of turning him away, Ethan made a split-second decision. "Don't worry about it," Ethan said warmly. "I'll get it running again for you, for free." Henry blinked in surprise. "Are you sure? That's incredibly generous of you." "It's no trouble," Ethan replied with a reassuring smile. "We all need help sometimes." Grateful, Henry thanked him profusely before stepping aside to watch as Ethan got to work. Ethan popped the hood of Henry's car and began inspecting the engine. His hands moved methodically as he traced wires, checked fluids, and listened carefully for any unusual sounds. Despite the pressure of working on an old vehicle with limited resources, Ethan focused on what he did best, solving problems. After a few minutes, he turned to Henry with a calm expression. "Looks like the issue is with the alternator. It's not charging the battery properly, which explains why the car won't start." Henry nodded, though his eyes betrayed a flicker of concern. "How serious is it? Will it take long to fix?" "Not too bad," Ethan replied reassuringly. "I've got the part in stock so I can replace it today. You should be good to go by evening." Relieved, Henry smiled faintly. "Thank you. I really appreciate this. I've got errands to run, and this couldn't have come at a worse time." "No problem," Ethan said warmly. "I'll get started right away." As Ethan worked, Henry lingered nearby, watching him with quiet curiosity. He noticed how meticulous Ethan was, double-checking every connection and tightening bolts with care. Most mechanics he'd encountered in the past had tried to upsell him on unnecessary repairs or rushed through jobs without much thought. But Ethan seemed different, genuine, thorough, and honest. At one point, Henry approached him while he was halfway through the repair. "You're sure about doing this for free?" Henry asked cautiously, still feeling uneasy about accepting such generosity. Ethan glanced up, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Absolutely. Like I said, we all need help sometimes. Besides, it's just a small thing." Henry shook his head in amazement. "It's not small to me. This kind of kindness is rare these days." Ethan chuckled modestly, brushing off the praise. "It's just my job, sir. Nothing special." But Henry knew better. There was something extraordinary about Ethan's humility and dedication, qualities that stood out sharply against the greed and shortcuts he often encountered in life. By late afternoon, Ethan finished the repair and closed the hood with a satisfied nod. He motioned for Henry to join him as he explained the work he'd done. "All set," Ethan said, handing him the keys. "Take it for a spin around the block to make sure everything feels okay." Henry climbed into the driver's seat and started the engine, listening closely for any lingering issues. To his relief, the car roared smoothly, free of the earlier sputtering. Satisfied, he stepped out and shook Ethan's hand firmly. "I can't thank you enough," Henry said sincerely. "You've been incredibly kind." "It's no big deal," Ethan replied modestly. "Just glad I could help." Before getting back into his car, Henry hesitated, then turned to face Ethan again. "Well, thank you again, young man," he said thoughtfully. "I won't forget this act of generosity." Ethan chuckled nervously, brushing off the praise. "It's just my job, sir. Nothing special." "Oh, it's special all right," Henry replied firmly, his tone carrying a hint of mystery. "And kindness like yours deserves recognition." With that, Henry climbed back into his car and drove off, leaving Ethan puzzled but grateful for the encounter. Little did Ethan know, Henry's gratitude would lead to something far greater than either of them could have imagined. Later that evening, as Henry drove home in his newly repaired car, he couldn't stop thinking about Ethan. There was something about the mechanic's generosity and humility that lingered in his mind long after their brief interaction. In a world where people often prioritized profit over kindness, Ethan had stood out, a reminder of simpler times and genuine human connection. When Henry arrived at his spacious home, he found his daughter, Sophia, waiting for him in the living room. Sophia was the CEO of a major automotive company, a role she had earned through years of hard work and determination. Despite her success, she remained close to her father, valuing his wisdom and perspective. "How was your day?" Sophia asked warmly as Henry settled into his favorite armchair. "It was interesting," Henry replied, a thoughtful smile spreading across his face. "I met someone today, someone remarkable." Sophia raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh? Tell me more." Henry recounted the story of how his car had broken down and how Ethan, the mechanic, had fixed it without charging a dime. He described Ethan's honesty, skill, and willingness to help someone in need. "He didn't have to do what he did," Henry said earnestly, "but he chose to because it was the right thing. That kind of character is rare these days, Sophia. I think you'd admire him." Sophia listened intently, her curiosity piqued. As the head of an automotive company, she was always on the lookout for talented individuals who shared her values of integrity and hard work. "Do you know anything else about him?" she asked. "Not much," Henry admitted, "but I can tell you this, he's exactly the kind of person we need in our industry. Someone who puts people first and doesn't cut corners." Sophia nodded thoughtfully. "Maybe we should find out more about him. If he's as good as you say, he could be a great fit for the team." Over the next few days, Henry couldn't shake the feeling that Ethan deserved recognition for his kindness. He decided to take matters into his own hands. After digging around online and making a few discreet phone calls, he discovered that Ethan owned a small garage on the outskirts of town, a struggling business that barely stayed afloat despite his talent. Henry shared this information with Sophia, who grew even more interested in meeting Ethan. "I've been looking for someone to lead our new initiative focused on sustainable vehicle repairs," Sophia explained during one of their conversations. "If Ethan's as skilled and dedicated as you say, he might be perfect for the role." Henry smiled, pleased with the idea. "He deserves a chance to shine, Sophia. And if anyone can give him that opportunity, it's you." Meanwhile, Ethan returned to his usual routine, unaware of the impact his act of kindness had made. Life continued to be tough. He still struggled to pay bills and keep his garage running, but he reminded himself of the importance of staying true to his values. One afternoon, as Ethan worked on a customer's car, he received a call from an unknown number. "Hello?" he answered cautiously. "Hi, is this Ethan?" a professional-sounding voice asked. "Yes, who's calling?" "This is Sophia Carter, CEO of Carter Automotive," the voice replied. "We're currently hiring for a leadership position, and I'd like to invite you to interview with us." Ethan froze, stunned by the unexpected offer. "I'm sorry, but are you sure you have the right person? I'm just a mechanic." "We're certain," Sophia assured him. "Your skills and character have come highly recommended. We'd love to discuss how you could contribute to our team." Though hesitant, Ethan agreed to meet with Sophia, curious about the opportunity. Little did he know, his simple act of kindness toward Henry had set off a chain reaction that would change his life forever. As he prepared for the interview, Ethan couldn't help but wonder how such a small gesture, fixing a stranger's car for free, had led to this moment. Ethan arrived at the headquarters of Carter Automotive the following week, feeling both nervous and out of place. The building was sleek and modern, a stark contrast to his humble garage. As he walked through the glass doors, he couldn't help but feel like an imposter, a mechanic stepping into a world of suits, presentations, and cutting-edge technology. He was greeted by a receptionist who led him to a conference room where Sophia waited. When she stood up to shake his hand, Ethan immediately recognized her from photos he'd seen online. She was poised and confident, yet there was a warmth in her smile that put him at ease. "Thank you for coming, Ethan," Sophia said warmly. "I've heard great things about you." Ethan chuckled nervously. "If you don't mind me asking, how did you hear about me?" "I'm just a small-town mechanic." Sophia exchanged a glance with Henry, who had quietly joined them in the room. Realization dawned on Ethan as he saw the familiar face of the elderly man whose car he'd fixed. "You're the CEO's father?" Ethan exclaimed, his eyes widening in surprise. Henry smiled sheepishly. "Guilty as charged. And I may have mentioned your kindness to my daughter here." Sophia nodded, picking up where her father left off. "What you did for my dad, fixing his car without charging him, spoke volumes about your character. We're looking for someone like you to lead our new initiative focused on sustainable vehicle repairs. Someone who values honesty, hard work, and putting people first." Ethan blinked, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the offer. "I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm not sure I'm qualified. I've never worked in a corporate setting before." "That's okay," Sophia replied firmly. "You bring something far more valuable than experience, integrity and practical expertise. Plus, we'll train you every step of the way." Her confidence in him was overwhelming, yet inspiring. For years, Ethan had doubted whether his skills translated beyond the garage. Now, here was someone telling him he was capable of far more than he imagined. After a lengthy discussion and some reassurance from Henry, Ethan decided to take a leap of faith. He accepted the position, agreeing to lead the Sustainable Repairs Initiative while learning the ropes of corporate life. Over the next few weeks, Sophia introduced him to the team, pairing him with experienced engineers and designers who could guide him through the transition. At first, adapting to the new environment was challenging. The jargon, the meetings, and the high-stakes decisions felt foreign to Ethan. But he quickly realized that many of the principles he'd used in his garage, problem-solving, attention to detail, and teamwork, were universal. With time and practice, he began to find his footing. Sophia checked in regularly, always offering encouragement without micromanaging. "How's it going?" she asked one afternoon as they reviewed plans for a new eco-friendly repair process. "Better than I expected," Ethan admitted, smiling faintly. "I've still got a lot to learn, but it feels good to be part of something bigger." "That's the spirit," Sophia replied, patting his shoulder. "And remember, you're not just fixing cars anymore. You're helping shape the future of transportation for everyone." Her words reminded Ethan of why he loved being a mechanic in the first place, to solve problems and make life easier for others. As months passed, Ethan's role expanded beyond hands-on repairs. He implemented preventive maintenance schedules, reducing breakdowns and saving the company significant costs. His ability to connect with workers and customers alike earned him respect across the organization. Many employees admired his down-to-earth approach and willingness to roll up his sleeves when needed. Sophia watched proudly as Ethan thrived, realizing how much his presence strengthened the company's operations. Machines ran more efficiently, downtime decreased, and morale improved, all thanks to his efforts. One evening, as they stood together overlooking the production floor bathed in soft fluorescent light, Sophia turned to Ethan with a thoughtful expression. "You've done wonders here," she said softly. "Not just for the company, but for everyone involved. I couldn't have done it without your trust or the team's guidance," Ethan replied humbly. "And we couldn't have done it without your hard work and dedication," Sophia countered firmly. "This is proof that when people come together, amazing things happen." Through their partnership, Ethan and Sophia proved that success wasn't about individual achievement. It was about collaboration, mutual respect, and shared goals. Together, they transformed challenges into opportunities, proving that kindness and hard work could create lasting change for themselves and those around them. As Ethan settled into his new role at Carter Automotive, his impact became undeniable. What started as a leap of faith evolved into a vital leadership position that kept the Sustainable Repairs initiative running smoothly. His ability to diagnose problems quickly and implement practical solutions saved time and resources, allowing the team to focus on innovation rather than troubleshooting. Sophia often marveled at how seamlessly Ethan fit into the fabric of the company. Not only did he excel at managing projects, but he also fostered a sense of teamwork among the staff. Engineers who had once been hesitant to approach him now sought his advice on everything from design flaws to efficiency improvements. "You're more than just our leader," Rachel, one of the senior engineers, joked one afternoon as they worked side by side. "You're like the glue holding this place together." Ethan laughed, brushing off the compliment. "I'm just doing my part. Everyone here works hard. It's not just me." But deep down, he knew Rachel was right. For the first time in years, Ethan felt valued not just for what he could fix, but for who he was. The company wasn't just a workplace. It was a community where people supported one another, and he was proud to be part of it. Sophia, too, found herself growing alongside Ethan. Watching him succeed reminded her of why she had built the company in the first place. Not for profit alone, but to create opportunities for others. Inspired by his dedication, she began expanding initiatives aimed at sustainability and community outreach. For example, she partnered with local schools to introduce programs focused on green technology, ensuring that young minds were inspired to innovate responsibly. She also introduced mentorship programs within the company, pairing seasoned employees with newcomers eager to learn. "None of this would have happened without you," Sophia told Ethan one evening as they reviewed plans for a new solar-powered charging station prototype. "Your work inspired me to think bigger, to focus on giving back instead of just growing the business." Ethan shook his head modestly. "You were already doing great things long before I came along. I'm just lucky to be part of it now." Their partnership extended beyond project management. As Ethan gained confidence, he began mentoring younger workers, teaching them the basics of mechanics and sharing tips he'd learned over the years. To Sophia's delight, many of these workers showed promise, eager to follow in Ethan's footsteps. "It's like you're building a legacy here," Sophia remarked one afternoon as they watched Ethan guide a trainee through a repair task. "I hadn't thought about it like that," Ethan admitted, smiling faintly. "But if I can help someone else succeed, then maybe all this hard work means something even bigger." Sophia nodded, her eyes shining with pride. "That's exactly what it does. Legacy isn't about wealth or fame. It's about lifting others up so they can shine too." The company flourished under their combined efforts. With Ethan maintaining equipment and leading teams, and Sophia overseeing operations, productivity soared. Prototypes yielded groundbreaking results, and profits increased significantly. But more importantly, the company became known not just for its innovations but for its commitment to integrity and compassion. Local newspapers featured stories about the company's success, highlighting how Sophia and Ethan worked together to create opportunities for others. Customers began seeking out their services not just for their quality, but because they wanted to support a business rooted in kindness and integrity. One day, while attending an auto expo where the company's vehicles were showcased, Ethan overheard a customer praising their mission. "They care about people," the man said to his friend. "It's not just about selling cars. It's about making lives better." Ethan smiled to himself, feeling a surge of fulfillment. This was the kind of impact he had always hoped to make, but never imagined possible. Through it all, Ethan and Sophia remained grounded, refusing to let success inflate their egos. They continued working side by side, tackling challenges and celebrating victories together. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, built on mutual respect and shared values. "We make a good team," Sophia remarked one evening as they stood on the rooftop garden of the company headquarters overlooking the city skyline. "The best," Ethan agreed, raising his glass in a toast. "Here's to many more seasons of success, and plenty of ideas worth chasing." They laughed, clinking their glasses together as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in hues of orange and pink. Years passed, and Ethan's life transformed in ways he never thought possible. The steady income from the company allowed him to provide better for his family, paying off debts, fixing up their home, and even saving enough to send his kids to college. But beyond material gains, Ethan found fulfillment in knowing his work mattered, not just to Sophia's company, but to the entire community. Sophia, too, experienced a profound shift in her perspective. Through Ethan, she rediscovered the joy of connecting with people on a personal level. Her decision to hire him wasn't just an investment in the company. It was a reminder that small acts of kindness could ripple outward, creating opportunities for growth and change. Together, they became pillars of the organization, respected not only for their achievements but also for their humility and generosity. One crisp autumn morning, Sophia invited Ethan to join her for coffee on the rooftop garden of the company headquarters. As they sipped steaming mugs while watching the sunrise bathe the city in golden light, Sophia turned to him with a reflective smile. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" she asked softly. "From that broken-down car to all this." "All the time," Ethan admitted, gesturing toward the bustling streets below. "I still can't believe it sometimes. Your dad brought us together, and here we are. And you reminded me why I started this company in the first place," Sophia replied warmly. "To make a difference. For my team, for customers, for the world. Together, we've done more than either of us could have alone." Ethan nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Though their backgrounds were vastly different, they had formed a partnership rooted in trust, hard work, and shared purpose. Later that year, Sophia announced plans to expand the company further, introducing initiatives aimed at empowering underserved communities through education and mentorship. She credited much of the success to Ethan, whose hands-on expertise helped turn ideas into reality. "You're leaving a legacy here," Sophia told him during a meeting with the team. "Not just through your skills, but through your heart. This company will thrive long after we're gone because of people like you." Ethan blushed, uncomfortable with the praise but touched by her sincerity. "It's not just me, Sophia. It's everyone who works here. All of us working together." "That's true," Sophia agreed, smiling fondly. "But don't underestimate the power of leading by example. You inspire others every day without even realizing it." As the years went on, Ethan continued mentoring young workers, passing along the lessons he'd learned throughout his journey. Many of them went on to start their own projects or pursue careers in engineering, carrying forward the values Ethan embodied: perseverance, compassion, and integrity. Sophia, meanwhile, focused on giving back in other ways. She established scholarships for students interested in mechanics and technology, ensuring that opportunities like Ethan's were available to others facing similar struggles. "Our lives are richer because of what we've built together," Sophia said during a ceremony honoring local innovators. "But true wealth isn't measured by what we keep. It's measured by what we share." Her words resonated deeply with those in attendance, including Ethan, who stood proudly beside her as applause filled the room. Eventually, Ethan's children grew up and moved away, pursuing dreams of their own. Yet whenever they visited, they marveled at how much their father had accomplished and how much he had given back to the world. "You changed everything for us, Dad," his daughter said one evening during a family dinner. "Not just financially, but by showing us what it means to care about others." "I didn't do it alone," Ethan replied humbly, glancing at Sophia sitting across the table. "Sometimes, all it takes is one person believing in you to set everything in motion." Sophia smiled, raising her glass in a toast. "To kindness, to hard work, and to friendships that last a lifetime." Everyone joined in, clinking glasses as laughter and warmth filled the room. Looking back on their journey, Ethan and Sophia realized they had created something far greater than either of them could have imagined. A thriving company, a supportive community, and a bond that transcended differences. Their story served as a testament to the power of compassion and collaboration to transform lives. Not just theirs, but countless others. Because sometimes the smallest gestures, like fixing a car or offering a job, can lead to extraordinary outcomes. And in the end, it's not about wealth or fame. It's about the connections we forge and the legacies we leave behind. If Ethan and Sophia's story inspired you, share it with others. Let us know in the comments. How has kindness or teamwork impacted your life? Your stories inspire us to keep creating tales that matter.